Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining me today. We are at St. Mark's National Wildlife Refuge. This refuge was one of the earliest wildlife refuges to be established in the United States. It was established in 1931 to be habitat for wintering birds. So St. Mark's is in the path of migratory birds going to Central and South America, and it's also in the migratory path of monarchs, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But this refuge is pretty large. It covers about 80,000 acres and includes habitats like salt marshes, freshwater marshes, longleaf pine areas, and estuaries. It also covers a lot of the Gulf, so when you come down to St. Mark's, you can see the Gulf of Mexico from the refuge. It's a really amazing habitat for a lot of our special Florida species like the bobcat, the Florida black bear, along with some of our threatened bird species like the black skimmer, the least tern, and our wood storks all can be found here. So St. Mark's is not only an amazing habitat for a bunch of different species and covers a vast array of different ecosystem types, but it's also a great place to come visit. There's extensive hiking and biking trails, there's a lighthouse, and a lot of interesting things to see here, and amazing opportunities to see the wildlife. So if you have not been here, I highly encourage you to come visit. But today we're at St. Mark's to talk about the monarch butterfly. So you may be familiar with the plight that is afflicting the monarchs right now. If not, the monarch butterfly population has declined by about 90% since the 1990s. And this is due to a lot of different things. So part of the problem is that there's been a lot of conversion of habitat to suburban areas or cities expanding out into habitat. So there's been a lot of habitat loss. And then the other issue that's really been affecting the monarchs is pesticide use. So a lot of the monarchs' range covers our agricultural areas in the Midwest, and so all of that pesticide use has really harmed the monarch butterflies population. But the monarch butterflies are starting to come back with help from local grassroots organizations, Fish and Wildlife Service, and then some other non-governmental conservation organizations. So St. Mark's themselves are actually in the process of helping the monarchs too. So they have the Monarch Initiative, where they are collecting a whole bunch of different ecotypes of native milkweed species, and then they're growing seeds and then planting those seedlings all over the refuge so that the monarch has the resource that it really needs to be able to lay its eggs. But monarchs are a really incredible species because of this migration that they do. So monarchs can be found during the summertime all over the United States. This eastern population of monarchs during September and October will start their annual migration down to Mexico. So the monarch butterflies travel across the United States, either down through Mexico or over the Gulf to get to central Mexico where their wintering grounds are. And what's even more amazing is that not one butterfly completes this entire migration. It's done over successive generations. So it can take up to 3 to 5 generations of monarchs to make the entire journey south. Same thing coming north. Once the monarchs winter in Mexico, then they come back up here in the springtime where they'll go through those successive generations to eventually repopulate the United States. And then the cycle begins again in the fall. So monarchs take part in this incredible migration that a lot of our bird species also take part in. But it's amazing to think of these tiny little fragile butterflies flying across the ocean to get to their ancestral wintering grounds in Mexico. If you want to take part in helping the monarch, there are a couple things that you can do. The best thing that you can do is plant native plants in your yard. So I'll put a link in the description to a website that will help you find and identify native plants that you can easily get to plant in your yard. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you come down to St. Mark's and visit the monarchs, look for the birds that migrate. Right now is the best time to come down here and see monarchs if that's what you'd like to see. Migration is starting to for the birds, so you're going to start seeing a lot more bird species here over the next couple months. But come down to St. Mark's, interact with your local wildlife, and get outside. And I will see you at a different location next week.